You're going to be the king of trivia after this one, I'm telling you. Today, we're telling the wildest stories behind the television tunes that rule the 80s, but the ones that played in between your favorite shows. They're those quick bite-sized hits that were permanently burned into your brain, and you're going to know them when you hear them. It's going to be nostalgia overload. This was so much fun to do. You may know them even more than the biggest hit songs of the time. It was that way for me on a few of them. So one was a throwaway song. It was intentionally written to fail. But it sold so much candy, the company had to build an extra factory just to keep up with the demand. And then there were those coffee commercials of the wholesome morning tune, but they later used that same song. It was used in an infamous ad about a brother and a sister with way too much chemistry. You'll see what I mean next. Or how about the song from the cola shoot where a megastar's hair caught on fire? You'll know that one. And then there was a catchy song that came from a guy accidentally stuttering the product name because he was drunk during the product meeting, and it became legendary. If you've lived through the 80s, you're going to love this one. The best bite-sized hits of the neon decade with some great artists next on Professor of Rock. Hey, music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. You know, if you remember this.
The new Coke Pop Quiz. Cokeologist dismissed. All others pay attention.
You're going to dig this channel of deep musical nostalgia. Make sure to subscribe below right now to be a part of our Music History Daily. Check the notification bell so you know when our stuff comes out. Also, check out our podcast on Apple and Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. So we've done the greatest television theme songs from the 60s and 70s and 80s, even the 90s. They were a hit, but since doing those, many of you have asked about the songs that came between your favorite shows. So today we're doing it. You're going to love this. This was so much fun. It's the best of the surprisingly crazy world of advertising jingles, 80s edition. The neon decade has given us some of the catchiest commercial tunes of all time, and on this countdown, I'm giving you my picks for the most unforgettable, the 10 most unforgettable jingles of the 80s. And we've got some superstars in here, like ZZ Top and other great rock artists. So here's a little taste of what you're about to see. So starting things off at number 10, it's a classic 80s jingle disguised as a cartoon theme song. Talk about Transformers more than meets the eye.
Mechanical giants. Transformers more than meets the eye.
Now this one came by way of songwriter Anne Bryant. In the 70s and early 80s, Anne got into writing music for advertisements, and throughout the decade, she and her assistant Ford Kinder created some of the most memorable cartoon themes for Hasbro toy lines. Gem and the Holograms, My Little Pony, Visionaries. Kinder also contributed to G.I. Joe, but Transformers just might be the most unforgettable theme they worked on together.
Here comes the Transformers. Robots in disguise.
From day one, the idea was that the animated series would be a marketing tool to promote Hasbro's Transformers toys. Anne Bryant delivered a metallic masterpiece here. Her driving synthesized anthem became the sonic DNA of the entire franchise. This song was pure marketing genius, with its tagline, more than meets the eye.
The Transformers, more than meets the eye.
So it's no surprise that the same exact cartoon theme was used in the toy commercials. And man, those 80s Transformers toy commercials were pure sensory overload. They open with lightning-fast animation sequences, often showing the Autobots and Decepticons in battle. And they always showed off how they transformed. These scenes were like mini-movies. And then, of course, there were always kids playing with the actual toys.
It's Devastator! 6 Constructicons and 1!
Each sold separately.
Devastator!
What really drove it home were the kids staring into the camera in that robotic voice saying robots in disguise. It was 80s advertising theater at its best.
The Transformers, robots in disguise.
Kids absorbed these ads like sponges, and Transformers toy sales skyrocketed. In fact, the campaign was so successful, writers of the show just kept coming up with more Transformers so they could just sell more toys. And actually 3 years into the show, there were nearly 200 different character toys that you could buy. And that's not including variations of the same characters. I mean, it was insane. But if you were a kid in the 80s, you loved it. Anne Bryant's jingle created a generational soundtrack that decades later still triggers instant nostalgia.
The Transformers sold separately from Hasbro.
All right, coming in at number 9 for our next jingle, I got a ZZ Top special for you. It's Legs. Actually, in 1983, ZZ Top made a permanent mark on the decade with their 8th studio album, Eliminator. Record, of course, sold 11 million copies in America and scored 3 top 15 rock chart hits with Give Me All Your Lovin', Sharp Dressed Man, and of course, Legs. In fact, Legs went to number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was really big. The song was inspired by a fleeting encounter, actually. Guitarist Billy Gibbons recounted how while driving he spotted a striking woman in the middle of his rainstorm. Her legs, of course, caught his eye before she vanished from the rearview mirror. Said Billy about it, and I quote, "I was driving in L.A., and there was this unusual downpour, and there was a real pretty girl on the side of the road. I passed her, and I thought, well, I better pull over, at least turn around and offer a ride. By the time I got back to her, she was gone. Her legs were the first thing I noticed, and then I noticed that she had a Brooke Shields hairdo that was in danger of falling. She was not going to get wet. She had legs, and she knew how to use them." And of course, he used that in the song. Well, turns out corporate America also figured out how to use them too, because Pantyhose brand's Sheer Energy Legs, the company struck a multi-million-dollar deal with ZZ Top to use the legs in their late 80s campaign. So Legs, a brand known for its egg-shaped packaging, remember that, saw the song as an opportunity to infuse its marketing with a modern, confident edge. Sheer Energy transformed the original rocker into a synthesized jingle. Focusing on the lyrics, she's got legs, she knows how to use them. The ad featured women striding confidently, showing off their legs. I mean, you know, sex sells, right? This clever pairing allowed the brand to appeal to a younger, more fashion-forward audience, and by licensing a cover rather than the original, Legs was able to soften the song to better fit their image. The campaign, of course, was a major success with record sales. Coming in at the number 8 position on the countdown is another song that became a jingle, picked up for the Twix Oh Yeah ad campaign. The song, of course, Oh Yeah, by the Swiss electronic duo Yello. Comprised of Boris Blank and Dieter Meir, the pair released Oh Yeah as part of their album Stella in 1985. The minimalist track with its hypnotic synth beats and quirky and manipulated vocals is an instant earworm for people. And though a lot of people think that Yello was a one-hit wonder, believe it or not, these guys actually had 15 top 40 hits on the US dance charts, including a number 1 hit, Oh Yeah remix, in 2006. It was called Oh Yeah 06. However, the original didn't fare nearly as well. It went to number 35 on the dance charts and only went to number 51 on the Hot 100. But it's lived on in the collective pop culture subconscious thanks to a few memorable placements, like in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, for example, and also The Secret of My Success. And it was a big hit with only a few words, or sounds, really. This widespread recognition set the table for its adoption by Twix. In the late 80s, Twix licensed Oh Yeah for a series of television commercials, aiming to infuse the candy bar with a modern, youthful edge. What else, right? This song's seductive beat and rebellious vibe perfectly align with Twix's marketing strategy to position the chocolate caramel treat as, fun and irresistible. Some ads featured young people cruising in a convertible, throwing out carefree vibes with the song's Oh Yeah refrain pulsing in the background. We all remember that. Others had teens talking smack about their parents' rules and doing what they wanted to do instead. And this was somehow related to Twix.
You need to be more level-headed. So I said, oh yeah.
Overall, the Oh Yeah campaign was about having a good time, and it was a little indulgent. But actually, I got to give Twix props for the campaign they put together from 1990 to 2001. It may have been even more iconic because it featured Chuck Norris as the candy bar's ambassador. Of course, the man's a legend. How many push-ups can Chuck Norris do? All of them, right? The slogan for the 90s campaign was one of life's great kicks, which played right into Chuck's martial arts background.
Twix, one of life's great kicks. Oh, yeah.
Coming in at the number 7 spot, it's time to get Zestfully Clean. You know what I'm talking about here.
You're not fully clean unless you're zestfully clean.
Do I look clean to you?
Back in 1952, Procter & Gamble launched this so-called non-soap alternative. But by the early 80s, Zest was fading into obscurity. It was dwindling in soap aisles, and the brand desperately needed a sonic jolt. The jingle breakthrough came in 1985 when James Jordan crafted a song that was advertising gold.
Rinses you fully clean.
Zestfully, zestfully, zestfully clean.
Now, the phrase Zestfully Clean, that was as memorable as it was ridiculous, let's be honest, and the absurdist commercials transformed mundane shower routines into joyful celebrations, with everyday Americans getting fully clean and showing off their, Zestfully Clean towels. The brand's big push to point out the difference between Zest and regular soap. Regular soap left a sticky film on you, while Zest got you fully clean, no residue apparently, so you were Zestfully Clean.
Unless I'm zestfully clean. So, leave a sticky film on you that won't pinch away.
They even had an ad with, baseball ace Roger Clemens singing. I mean, everybody was lathering up singing this in all their commercials.
You're not fully clean unless you're zestfully clean.
But the commercials got a little bit stranger and a little bit meta after that. One ad showed a bizarre recording studio scenario that defied both physics and logic. Starts out with a female singer in a recording booth singing Zest's Jingle, right?
Never felt this clean as now.
But then the guy at the control panel turns a knob and all of a sudden the singer's microphone turns into a shower head. All of a sudden she's naked, singing the jingle in the shower and scrubbing down with Zest.
You're not fully clean unless you're zestfully clean.
By the end of the ad, she's fully clothed again, but what the hell? Was it all in her head? If not, that's a pretty messed up commercial. It won't be the last one on our countdown here.
There's no sticky film like soap does.
Zestfully, zestfully, zestfully.
Voyeuristic commercials aside, the campaign was a smash and the results were staggering. Sales climbed steadily throughout the late 80s as the phrase Zestfully Clean got locked into pop culture lexicon. And it was just one of those songs that gets in your head.
You're not fully clean unless you're zestfully clean.
All right, so coming in at number 6, we're going to be getting into the Cola Wars here.
You're a whole new generation. You're loving what I do. I put a Pepsi in the movie.
Infinitely wonderful. You got the right one, baby.
Now, back in the 80s, the Coca-Cola-Pepsi rivalry heated up big time. Pepsi came out swinging with their choice of a new generation campaign, Michael J. Fox, Michael Jackson. The global soft drink market reached an estimated $100 billion in the 80s, and together Coke and Pepsi owned almost 75% of that market share. But Pepsi wasn't exactly a close second. Coca-Cola was still the industry leader by a large margin, so Pepsi made a bold move in November of '83. A year after the release of Michael Jackson's groundbreaking album Thriller, they inked a record-shattering $5 million endorsement deal with Jackson and his brothers. Michael, who was already larger than life, was about to get even bigger with these commercials. Jackson was the perfect ambassador for Pepsi's new generation campaign since he was the biggest pop star at the time, and he played the part to perfection, even suggesting that they rework his worldwide #1 hit Billie Jean into a jingle. The chorus went, "You're the Pepsi generation, guzzle down and taste the thrill of the day and feel the Pepsi way." Now, the one thing here is that Michael Jackson told Pepsi that he would not actually drink a Pepsi on camera since it had sugar and he was healthy. If you watch closely, he never does take a drink. Not surprisingly, the resulting new generation commercial became the 80s version of a viral video. I mean, it aired in over 180 countries and it reached 500 million viewers. The ad featured Jackson performing the reimagined Billie Jean with a little help from a young Alfonso Ribeiro. You might also remember him as Carlton from The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
You're a whole new generation. You're dancing through the day.
But when I see you hanging about with anyone.
However, the ad campaign had some serious issues. Actually, on January 27th, 1984, you'll all remember this, Michael Jackson's hair caught on fire during the filming of a Pepsi commercial. The ad featured pyrotechnics, and on one of the takes, they exploded too early and it showered sparks directly onto MJ's head. Michael's hair was heavily coated in hairspray and it ignited instantly. Only in the 80s with that hairspray. The resulting burns were pretty severe, and they required medical treatment and later scalp surgery. And it became fodder on the playground. Pepsi Cola burned him up. Now he's drinking 7-Up. I don't know if you sang that as well. But that painful mishap aside, the campaign was a massive success. In 1984, Pepsi sales reached $7.7 billion, and it narrowed the gap on Coca-Cola's market share. In fact, Pepsi signed Jackson to a second $10 million deal for Bad, for the album Bad and the world tour that followed. Through the years, Pepsi has continued to leverage the pop spokesman strategy. There's Lionel Richie, Madonna, Britney Spears. They all represented the brand. Of course, you got to remember Ray Charles and the Girls. That campaign was actually for Diet Pepsi, but I bet you can remember the jingle, "You got the right one, baby, Actually, Ray Charles added his signature during a rehearsal, and that improvisation became an instant hit, even though they weren't too sure about it then.
There's only one right one, baby. You got the right one, baby.
All right, halfway through the countdown, number 5, it's Chia.
There's a new pet.
Chia.
Chia Pet, the pottery that grows.
In 1977, entrepreneur Joseph Padat came across a quirky terracotta figurine at a Chicago housewares convention. Now, this rudimentary product coated with chia seed paste sprouted into green fur when it was watered, and it was known as the Chia Pet. The sales executive that was showcasing it just dismissed it as a stupid item, but he said it was his top seller. Intrigued, Joseph traced the Chia Pet's origins to a man named Walter Houston in Mexico, and he acquired the rights for $25,000. Through Joseph's company, Joseph Enterprises, he transformed the Chia Pet into a household name. Now, at first, he targeted women and children who enjoyed indoor gardening during the winter. Its educational and fun nature made it a hit with families as kids could watch the chia seed sprout. Advertised heavily on TV during the holidays, the Chia Pet became a seasonal staple. I mean, it was simple. Smear the paste, water it, and then watch it grow. It captivated audiences. The Chia Pet's rise to fame was fueled not only by its unique charm, but thanks to the Chia jingle. That was introduced in 1982. It's as unforgettable as it is quirky.
Fun and easy. Soak your chia, spread the seeds, keep it watered.
Its origin, though, is shrouded in a mix of lore and legend. So one account credits a deliberate brainstorming session at Joseph Enterprises where someone playfully stuttered chia, and that sparked the creation. However, an alternative, more colorful tale suggests the jingle came from a drunken night out at a bar with Joseph and his friends having a product meeting there, and, a slurred chia, and that's where it was born.
There's a new pet.
Chia.
Chia Pet.
Now, regardless of its real origin, though, the jingle's repetitive, almost hypnotic rhythm became synonymous with the product, embedding itself in the cultural consciousness of the 80s and beyond.
Chia tree to keep your pets company. Chia Pets and Trees, the pottery that grows.
So Chia is at over $1 billion in sales on Chia Pet alone, and has kept the same song the whole time, $1 billion song. But the story doesn't end there. The Chia Pet wasn't Joseph's only quirky household product. Around the same time, actually, Joseph encountered another peculiar invention, the clapper, a device that turned lights on and off with a clap, right?
Clap off, clap on, clap off, the clapper.
Pitched by 2 Canadian inventors at a Toronto workshop, the clapper's prototype impressed Joseph with its straightforward ingenuity. Much like the Chia Pet, it was marketed with a memorable jingle. Clap on, clap off, the clapper.
Clap on, clap off, the clapper.
Okay, so we've made it to number 4, and we're getting closer to that coveted top spot. But man, these last 4 are really good. So let's rewind to 1984 for this next one. Do you remember this?
The best part of waking up.
Of course, the best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. I don't even drink coffee, and hearing that one takes me back like it was yesterday.
It's Folgers in your cup.
Mornings are brighter with mountain-grown Folgers.
Now, the song was composed by aspiring pop star Leslie Pearl. who released albums in 1977 and 1982. And she scored a minor hit with If the Love Fits, Wear It. It actually reached number 28 on the Hot 100. Pearl also penned songs for artists like Kenny Rogers, Aretha Franklin, Crystal Gayle, and Dr. Hook. However, Leslie soon redirected her talents to writing jingles. She was already a seasoned songwriter with a knack for catchy melodies, and the jingle thing, it just came to her naturally. With The Best Part of Waking Up, Leslie Pearl scored a massive hit, her biggest. I mean, its simple, uplifting lyrics captured the morning ritual of coffee drinking perfectly.
Enticing aroma than any other kind.
The best part of waking up.
Now, before the jingle launched, the Folgers brand had been slipping a lot. Its market share dropped from 27.3% in 1979 to 24.9% by 1983. The jingle marked a strategic shift to win over consumers, and it did exactly that. The jingle helped Folgers reverse its declines, and by the 90s, it had locked down nearly 30% of the market, and that was thanks in large part to Pearl's jingle. It dominated the competition into the 2000s. She never had a top 10 hit, but she had a song that was even bigger than any of the big hits of that year. But even with Folgers' success, it doesn't mean there haven't been some missteps. I mean, does anybody remember Folgers' inbred ad? That's what it's been called online. In 2009, Folgers aired a holiday commercial titled Coming Home, featuring a brother returning from Africa and sharing a heartfelt moment with his sister. This was over a cup of Folgers.
Stayed up all night for you, you know.
It's a long way from West Africa. Oh, coffee.
Sounds innocent enough, but it was supposed to be heartwarming, a reunion of sorts. However, if you pay attention to the ad's lingering glances and suggestive tone, it actually comes across in a whole different light. The spot culminates with the sister whispering to her brother, "You're my present this year." Oh, man.
What are you doing?
You're my present this year.
The internet erupted with parodies, turning this uncomfortable commercial into a viral sensation for all the wrong reasons. Puts a whole new spin on the jingle, of course.
We sent you to West Africa for a reason, Ryan, to separate you and your sister.
You're crazy! The best part of Waking Up, though, is still a juggernaut jingle. We all remember it.
Waking up is Folgers in your cup.
All right, let's get back on track here. So for my number 3 80s jingle, I've got the iconic I Don't Want to Grow Up, I'm a Toys R Us Kid.
Toys R Us that I can play with. I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid.
Now, this one was born at the J. Walter Thompson Advertising Agency, co-written by best-selling author James Patterson and advertising executive Linda Kaplan-Thaler. James, of course, crafted the lyrics, while Linda, wanting to get in touch with her inner child, composed the melody on an actual toy piano. For real.
Wanna grow up, I'm a Toys R Us kid. They got a million toys at Toys R Us.
And their efforts paid off big time. Neither could have guessed the jingle would have such a lasting impact. In fact, Linda reportedly saw it as a one-off project. Yet this catchy tune came to completely define the Toys R Us brand. Now, the original commercial introducing the jingle, that aired in 1982, and it showed kids engaging in, activities, playful activities, riding bikes, playing with stuffed animals, zooming around on a toy train, all that stuff. I mean, the whole thing reinforced the idea that Toys R Us was a truly magical place. And let's be honest, it was. And interestingly, it also featured a cast of future famous actors. There was a very young Jaleel White, of course, played Steve Urkel on Family Matters.
I couldn't be a Toys R Us kid. More gays, more toys. Oh, boy.
Now, if you want to do the Steve Urkel dance, all you have to do is hitch up your band.
You also had Lindsay Price, who was Janet Sosna on Beverly Hills 90210.
Video games.
It's the biggest toy store there is. Gee whiz.
There was also Jenny Lewis, who appeared in films like Troop Beverly Hills and The Wizard, and actually Jenny also had a long and successful career in the music industry, or is doing so even now.
Toys R Us kid. They got a million toys at Toys R Us that I can play with.
In the late 90s, she formed an indie rock band, Rilo Kiley. She put out solo albums as well, scoring a number 1 hit on the 2023 Adult Alternative chart with the song Psychos.
I'm your silver lining. Come around, boy. I'm not a psycho.
But all through the 80s, I Don't Want to Grow Up was a powerhouse jingle. It aired relentlessly across television, and the song became a fixture of 80s pop culture for Gen X. I mean, really, it did everything you'd want a toy store ad to do. It elicited wonder, it created joy, and it captured the feeling of being a kid. The jingle's repetitive upbeat melody made it impossible to forget, and its message of resisting adulthood, that resonated with both children and parents.
I wanna be a Toys R Us kid.
Now, when Toys R Us filed for bankruptcy in 2017 to 2018, that was so sad. The jingle actually experienced a viral resurgence, fueling tributes, parodies, and memes across social media. Millennials and Gen Xers who grew up singing I Don't Want to Grow Up shared heartfelt posts reflecting on childhood trips to the iconic toy store. I mean, is there anyone out there that grew up with this jingle that doesn't want to be a Toys R Us kid? I still do. I miss Toys R Us so much.
Once a Toys R Us kid?
Always a Toys R Us kid.
All right, we're just one away from this countdown's chart topper. First, though, you're going to like my number 2 entry. It's so catchy. It's Juicy Fruit's infectious jingle.
Set up, grab a stick of juicy fruit. The taste is gonna move ya.
In the mid-1980s, Wrigley's fruit gum took the television airwaves by storm. I mean, not just with Juicy Fruit, but also Doublemint Gum, the Great Twins.
Double is the one for you. Double fresh.
And Big Red, and I guess there was also Wrigley's Spearmint. My grandma had that one.
Give your breath long-lasting freshness with Big Red.
That little lift, that means a lot.
It's that little lift.
These brands all had more of a traditional feel, and they're all still really memorable. But it was Juicy Fruit that really leaned into the younger demographic and took things to their jingle skills next level. It went for a trendier approach for sure, appealing to a generation obsessed with MTV. All those commercials, they were distinctly 80s, blending sensuality with carefree fun, let's be honest. One notable 1986 ad featured a group of skiers in brightly colored suits sharing a pack of Juicy Fruit while zooming down the slopes. Their over-the-top energy clearly enhanced by their Juicy Fruit gum, I might add.
Shine up, grab a piece of juicy fruit. The taste will get you going.
It's one of the catchiest jingles ever. I mean, seriously, if this thing was released as a pop single with even average pop lyrics, in my opinion, it would have been a #1 smash.
Going out. The taste will get you going when you pop it in your mouth.
Now, as for the real lyrics, let's talk about that for a second. A close listen will shock you. I mean, they say, take a sniff, pull it out. The taste is going to move you when you pop it in your mouth. Okay. Are they talking about gum? Or something else?
Take a sniff, pull it out. The taste is gonna move you when you...
Very cheeky. I guess it wasn't gum. It was some kind of chewable stimulant. I mean, question for you guys. Does anybody out there actually sniff their gum before they chew it? And if so, is it because of these commercials? I'm just curious. Is it just me, or did the flavor only last like 10 or 15 seconds?
Take a sniff, pull it out. The taste is gonna move you when you...
Anyway, the whole vibe of the Juicy Fruit ads, and they're, supposed to be playful and all about having a good time. And they typically had an athletic slant to them, right? Boogie boarding, water skiing, that kind of stuff. And it seems like each commercial had slightly different lyrics to the song as well, but the gist was the same from ad to ad.
Juicy fruit, the taste is gonna move ya. Juicy fruit, the taste will get you going.
Of course, the jingle's cultural impact has endured long after its 80s heyday. You can still watch it on YouTube. I mean, its infectious melody is actually famously parodied in a Family Guy episode, almost completely scene for scene.
Shine up, grab a stick of juicy fruit. The taste is gonna move ya.
That parody alone shows how deeply the jingle lodged itself into our collective memory as Gen Xers. Decades later, people can still hum it word for word. Sing it word for word.
Juicy fruit, the taste is gonna move ya.
Juicy Fruit didn't just sell gum. I mean, it sold youth and flavor-fueled adventure, even if that taste faded faster than we wanted. The jingle, it's always going to be around for me.
We'll get you going. It's got the taste, but it keeps on going.
All right, we're here. The #1 80s jingle on today's countdown. And I'll tell you, this one's got a really crazy story to go along with it. I guess it should come as no surprise, but for #1, I've got Kit Kat and the Gimme a Break jingle. So memorable.
2, 1, 2, 3, 4, give me a break, give me a break.
So this classic Kit Kat jingle, it was born in 1986, and it was the brainchild of composer Michael Levine. He was hired by Hershey's marketing agency to write a jingle. But get this, Levine was hired specifically to write a throwaway song. The thing is, the ad agency already had a Kit Kat jingle that they were in love with, but they wanted just a trash jingle that they could use to contrast, when they pitched it to Hershey's, one that they could just say no to. After being shown some lyrical ideas from a junior copywriter, Michael settled on the Gimme a Break idea. And it's been said since it was going to be a throwaway song anyway, it came up with the dumbest, silliest lyric it could as the hook, which is apparently where the break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar came from. And when you think about it, it's pretty silly, it's pretty dumb. That's why it works so well. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and it's easy to say. It happened really quick. He wrote the song in an elevator in the time it took to go from the 3rd to the 1st floor. It was like 10 seconds, lightning fast. And actually, the agency only gave Michael Levine a tiny budget to record the jingle. In fact, he couldn't even afford to hire singers to record it. So Michael himself just sang it. He wasn't even a singer. But before pitching it to Hershey's, the ad agency played both jingles for test audiences, and Gimme a Break won out big time. It was huge. However, they still really liked their other jingle, so they just tested it again. And Gimme a Break did even better the second time. So they pitched the throwaway song to Hershey's, and of course, it was a hit. In fact, according to Michael Levine, the Gimme a Break jingle became so popular, Hershey had to build an entirely new Kit Kat factory just so that they could keep up with the demand. That's how big this song was, the power of music in advertising even.
Everywhere, so give me a break, woo, give me a break.
The Gimme a Break jingle's staying power has lasted well past the 80s, or remaining a fixture in Kit Kat commercials throughout the 90s and beyond. I mean, a simple, repetitive structure allowed it to be easily adapted to various ad formats.
Give me a break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar, give me a break.
And as you'd expect, this jingle has completely infiltrated pop culture, most famously in a 2008 episode of The Office. In a hilarious scene, Andy Bernard attempts to sing the Kit Kat jingle, but he has no idea what the product is.
You got it. You're so close.
Break me off a piece of that.
He comes up with all kinds of absurd alternatives. Break me off a piece of that applesauce, Chrysler car, football cream, all of it.
Bread, applesauce, piece of that Chrysler car.
Nope.
And of course, later in the show, Andy finally settles on a break me off a piece of that fancy feast. Nailed it.
Fancy feast.
Break me off a piece of that.
Fancy feast.
The gag underscores the jingle's popularity. It's just so ingrained in our collective consciousness. It's without a doubt one of the most iconic jingles of all time. Oh man, how's that for a story? A song that took 10 seconds to write in an elevator. Kit Kat has raked in billions in sales consistently since this song was written. So the guy wrote a multi-billion-dollar song in just seconds. How about that? It's a throwaway song, and it became such a smash they had to build another factory entirely. Only in the 80s.
Break me off a piece of that Kit Kat bar.
Well, there you have it. The best jingles of the 80s, and here's a couple that barely missed out.
Tony's Frosted Flakes. Wow. Got the tiger in you. What you call it? Just for the taste of it. Diet Coke.
So what are your favorites? What are your memories? What are your top 10 jingles of the 80s? Did you like this? I think it's kind of enjoyable. Let me know if you'd like to see some from the 70s or the 90s or even the 60s. Let's have a great discussion and prize these memories of songs that made us buy products. If you like our content, we invite you to subscribe below. We'd love to have you as part of our community. Until next time, 3 chords. Have the truth, my friends.